Hello friends, welcome to Saturday, the Saturday edition of the Coffee Run Live. I was just delivering the sixth lesson in Rebel with a Cause, which was, of course, a whole bunch of fun because, you know, doing the thing that I do, and it was kind of interesting. I did a journaling session before jumping on that, and then, you know, what I journaled on came out in this live, and, you know, that's kind of how we end up where we are now, and so on and so forth. But I guess the point is really, I was slapped over the head a little bit today, or this morning actually, where I realized that today has been almost exactly like the way that I wrote about what my ideal perfect day would look like way back in 2011. So the backstory is this. Back in 2011, I'd been running my business for about a year, not making very much money, and I was doing is I was traveling all over the place, all over the country, working with people one-on-one, helping them, coaching them, guiding them, helping them to, hey Kelly, happy Saturday, helping them to put their best foot forward, helping them to be really confident within themselves, you know, build a really great personal brand around them, regardless of whether they're in person, whether they're online, whether they're on blogs or wherever it is that they happen to be. But I was being dragged around everywhere. So fast forward to early 2011, and I happened across, quite mistakenly, which is maybe how some of you guys have found me, a random post on Facebook that just really spoke to me, and talking about where I was and stuff like that. Kelly said, go away, I just started to write my ideal day again today. Bang, baby, that's really hilarious. The cameras really are working in your house. So this space in 2011, I ended up buying from this mentor with it was a really kind of cheap program, low end, and it was helpful. It was great, but I bought from her later on, about 6 months later. And what that looked like to start with, it was started off a 12-month program, starting off with a 5-day retreat. There were 10 of us in this program. I think there might have been 12 originally, but there was 10 of us. And we were going to the Gold Coast, and it was all about marketing and business development and all this, that, and the other. And funny story, some of you have heard me talk about Jo, one of my best friends in here, and we didn't know each other at that point, right? She happened to be on this retreat as well. She was also working with this mentor. We'd never met before. We'd never had any interaction with each other before. And 10 of us have rolled up at this house, and the majority of the bedrooms were share bedrooms, and some of the share bedrooms had a couple of beds, and some of them had just double beds or queen beds. Now, the only room left in the nice area of the house was in the room that Jo had gone in, and that happened to be a queen bed. So the way that we met, this is how we introduce each other at events, it's really hilarious. The very first time we met, we had to sleep together, and we slept together for 5 days, having never ever known each other before. So it was quite an interesting experience, and I really think that that's one of the reasons why we're such firm best friends these days, which is kind of funny. So fast forward through the 5 days, and one of the things that this woman had us do was actually write out our ideal perfect day. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What are we telling ourselves? What does it feel like? Who else is there? What are we doing? What happens on almost like an hourly basis type thing? And I'm like writing out furiously, and it was really cool. I did it again in 2013, in March 2013, and really interesting was that I wrote. It wasn't too dissimilar to what I'd done, 18 months prior. But this time there was more more texture in it, more fabric in it, more feeling, more emotion. The smells were there, the sounds were there, everything. That's how I manifested this house, right? In this ideal day, I was writing as if we were living this house, and this house wasn't on the market, that I knew of at the time. this house. Like, there was no way I could possibly see us buying this house. It was 4 times what the house that we were in. It was 4 times as expensive as that. And I mean, things had just been working. Like March 2013, I was nearly a year in things working, and it was going really great. In fact, just as a little aside, you guys, some of you may have seen this particular, it's really hard to show that. I'm going to come in here. This particular tattoo was tattooed on my arm after, going a really long time. I was about $100 grand a year, I think, at that point by the time I got there. So $100,000 a year, and I did $118,000 in sales in 1 week. And I was just, it blew my mind, to be honest with you. So this ideal day that I'd written out didn't have in there about how much money I would be making or anything, but it talked about our abundance. It talked about the house. It talked about the things that I'd be doing, the team, the people that I had around me, the way that our family interacts. And it was so deep, like the towels that I would use and the smells and just, all of the things. Really, really intricate. And then, we bought this house 3 months later. It's ridiculous how much. April, May, June. We moved in even like 3 months later. I got home and this house happened to be on the market. Came and had a look at it, put an offer in. It was accepted, and bang, we moved in. And it's just kind of funny how things sort of work out, right? But what was really interesting today, and this is what I was telling the people today, was that this morning I'm doing some things, and I'll tell you in a sec, but I started journaling, and I had this moment where I'm like, holy shit, this is like pretty freaking close to my ideal perfect day that I wrote about with how I wanted it to be. Right down to how I woke up, how Dom talks to me, how he interacts. We go for a walk and it's really lovely and pleasant, and then come home. He went to work. That was not in my ideal day. He's gone off to work. I've hung out with the kids. I've worked out. I then had a friend and her daughter meet me here, and then we went for a walk and hung out and jibber-jabbered the whole way, and came home and got journaled. And then from there, in my ideal day, I work, I talk to you guys, right? And it's just, I love doing this stuff, so in my ideal perfect day that I wrote out, it's like, I'm doing some work every day because it's what I love to do. There's contact, I'm teaching, I'm delivering, I'm impacting, I'm adding value, I'm doing all of the things that I love to do. And as I'm writing in my journal, I'm like, holy shit, I'm not that, put this just a little bit into perspective. We don't live where I thought I'd be living when that ideal day panned out. In my head, it's beachfront house, 3-story house, whatever. It's not this home. And I still don't think we're not quite there yet. But the things don't always manifest in your world the way that you think that they will. And this is where we need to be really consciously creating the life and the businesses that we want, right? And know, kind of have an idea of what the ideal outcome might be, right? The ideal outcome, what that might be. But sometimes it looks different to the way that we expect that it might. Now, maybe your husband or your wife doesn't, or your partner doesn't quite look like how you visualized that they might, but I hope that they have all of those qualities that you were looking for, that they treat you in the way that you would want them to treat you in an ideal world, and so on and so forth. So they might not look exactly the way that you thought that they might, when you were 17 or 18 or 25 or 55, however old you were when you kind of imagined who your perfect partner might be. But I trust that they've kind of, you're happy in your relationship, that is manifested in the way that it should have versus the way that perhaps you thought that it would. And I guess this is where with your business, if you're being really intentionally outcome-based, that's right, that's great. But if you're trying to control every little single step of the way and it doesn't look right, it doesn't look right, it doesn't look right, you're kind of choking and putting a bit of a chokehold on the universe, kind of creating what it needs to in order for you to be able to live and experience this ideal life. Danielle, love hearing this. Thank you. So it was a bit of a slap in the face today with just like, bang. You know, Nicola, this is exactly what it is that you called in. You're doing exactly what it is that you want to do. There is nothing in my world right now that I hate, that I loathe, that I don't like. Everything, like literally in this moment in time, everything in my world is just like bang. It's just freaking awesome. And yeah, you know, there's some things in there that can improve and can be tweaked and can be changed and whatever. But right now, as it stands right now, this is almost exactly like the way that I wrote it. So where the lesson here is for you guys, I guess, or the main message that I wanted to share with you is that if you know where it is that you're going, you've got that idea, you've got that outcome, and you know, no matter what happens, I know that I'm going to get here. Try and let go. Actually, don't try and let go. Just let the fuck go of controlling every step along the way. Because when you try to control it, it kind of constricts the energy. It can constrict and put, caveats around the way that it has to pan out. And sometimes shit happens. And I'm not saying that that's a great thing, but, it's all a journey, right? So it's being aware that the stuff that goes on is the way that you need to grow and the things that you need to grow and the things that you need to do. Now, there's been a lot of shit that we've gone through as well over the last few years. Some of you have heard about it. Some of you haven't. Sure as shit didn't manifest that. But I also trust that the things that have been not so great, and they were not in my ideal perfect day. Let me give you the hot tip. But, we're talking about my ideal day. It's not like the ideal life, right? And every day being mapped out exactly. So like this ideal day is like my opinion is that the things that we go through, the challenges, the adversities, the tribulations, the rockiness, the waves, all of that stuff is my personal belief is doing one of two things. Number one, I think it's helping us to grow. Now, I didn't ask to be in a domestic violence relationship for 4.5 years and go through all the trauma of that. I didn't ask to have to fight to keep my daughter literally alive for 2 years. I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask to have, family drama. I didn't ask to have financial drama. I didn't ask to have, to be dealing with depression last year or anxiety or, any of that. I didn't ask for any of that, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. But here's what I do know. I do know that the fact that I have gone through those experiences and I'm on the other side has better prepared me to be able to help you guys, right? It's better prepared me to be a hell of a lot more self-aware, be a lot more wise, a lot more articulate, a lot more driven, a lot more compassionate, a lot more understanding, a more, perhaps well-rounded person, more resilient, and all of that stuff in order for this ideal perfect day to fucking happen and just, bang, come to life. Conversely, I also don't believe that you have to go through any of those, or sure as hell, I wouldn't wish that, like my life, I wouldn't wish that, a lot of those past experiences on anyone. But if we all have variations of that, right? We all have variations in our own demons, if you like, our own dark side, our own shit that we need to work through in order to become the humans that we're destined to be. We can choose to use those things as the catalyst to become the humans that we're supposed to be. So I just thought that I would share that with you, and I think it's a really important thing that, number one, we're consciously creating what it is that we want. We're programming ourselves for the future that we want. And I know whenever I think, where would I be living? What would I be doing? What am I looking at? And in my mind, the visual picture that I get in my ideal day is in this 3-story house. It's got these types of windows, right? So we've got colonial windows. This is my office. We've got colonial windows in this 3-story house. And I imagine that my office is up on the second floor, and it's overlooking the ocean and the beach, but it's a private beach, so we don't have people walking backwards and forwards because my bathroom's right there, not in my office. My bathroom is on the 3rd floor, and I can shower and see the ocean and the beach, right? Not in a weird way. I'm quite a prude, so I don't want everybody to see me in the shower, but so that's why it's a private beach, right? Very private beach. And I step out into this white, polished porcelain tile bathroom, and I'm overlooking it out. I'm getting dried with my, beautiful, warm, fluffy towel, and I can smell the waft of coffee, wafting up the stairs, getting into my nostrils. That's being made by the barista downstairs. Never you mind. So, and the curtains are billowing. I'm in my office and the curtains are billowing, and the kids have been taken to school, and we've had coffee, and we've done a walk on the beach, and we're all connected, and it just feels really beautiful. And I work on that day, and I'm working in my office with the glass desk and the curtains billowing, and I'm doing the stuff that I love to do in the way that I love to do it. So that's how it's visualized in my head, yeah? Yet today, I'm like, wow, there are so many elements. And it was a lot more descriptive than that when I wrote it out. But there are so many elements in that descriptive ideal day that literally happened today. I'm just like, fuck, that's really amazing. That's a really awesome sign if you're into that. It's a really awesome signpost. It's a really great validation. It's a really great thing for me to hear that validation, I guess, that you know what, you're on the right fucking path, Nicola. You're doing the right thing, Nicola. You're talking about the right things. You are, to me, in order for you to be the queens, the leaders, the influencers, the people who are out there healing, changing, shaping the world, I've got to fucking lead it first, right? So this is the reminder for me that, you know what, yep, I'm in the right place at the right time, and things are going exactly how they need to be. And how that helps you is like, well, if you're listening to this and it's resonating, then you too are in the right place at the right time. And, really it's your job, I was going to say, it's almost like it's your destiny, or this is exactly the thing that you needed to hear right in this moment, right in this time, to validate, remind, whatever for you, that you are worthy, that you are worth it, that you are deserving, that you can create what it is that you want. If you are consciously doing it, you're doing the inner work to make it happen, you're doing the outer work to make it happen, you're being the version of you that you want to be, and you are not buying into your own bullshit that, oh, I'm tired. I was tired at 10 to 6 this morning and did not want to go out for a walk with Dom. I just wanted to stay in bed and cuddle, right? I did not want to get out. And I was like, no, but I know it's a great start to the day. I want to get up, I want to get out, I want to do the thing that I want to do, let's go. And then I want to come home and I want to work out. I love our morning routines. So that's it, really. You're worthy, you're worth it, you're deserving, you deserve it. You have got everything. You've got everything right there in your hands, between your ears, that you can use to really create the life that you want. It's just a matter of you claiming it and then clearing out anything that gets in the way of you not having that. And that really is the big message for today. This is really what the Queen Code is all about. If you're curious about that, I'll put the link in. I don't want to bang on about that on a Saturday, or any day really, but I think it's really important work. And I guess, the big thing with all of this is that there are so many elements of things that I do literally on a daily basis to create this, to live where we live, to experience what we're experiencing, to be able to fly the way that I fly, to be able to travel, to be able to, raise the children in the way that I want to be able to raise them, to run this business. So, to be able to run this business in the way that I run it, only doing the things that create joy for me. So, oh gosh, sorry. About 18 months ago, I declared that, well, I was in the grip of a really shitty time, and I was questioning why do I keep fucking doing this? You know, why am I still doing this? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Because it felt so fucking hard. It felt heavy. I was doing things that I didn't really want to do, right? You know, if you look at sorry, I got a bit emotional. That's a bit weird. If you imagine a pie chart and you've got, you know, 90%, or actually say 70% of it is filled with all of the amazing things that I love to do. Probably 30% of that pie chart was me doing stuff that felt like it was killing my soul. And to me, the logic was, well, you know what? You got to push through the pain to get the joy. You know, you've got to, you know, if you're working out and if you want to build muscle, you've got to be able to break the muscle down in order for it to heal and get bigger. You've got it. Sometimes you've just got to suck it up, princess, and do the shit that we hate, right? And I think I'm ready to really fully let that go. That's okay. That was unexpected on a public live stream. But where I'm going with all of that is like, it was a really hard time, and to be able to kind of let that go. And come January last year, so January 2018, my mantra for coming into that new year was, if it's not fun, I'm not fucking doing it. And the majority of what I was doing was fun. But I was still trying really hard to make it work. I was having fun in all of it, but there were still moments where I'm like, oh, cool, you know, well, that's great. I can scale it. Let's do some ones and zeros and expand that. Right? Let's get all businessy again, Nicola. And I suppose, and I let go of a lot of the stuff that I knew worked. So I do a lot of energy work for myself and with clients. I do, you know, a lot of grounding work. It's not just the doing stuff. But I suppose where I'm going with all of that, and what I've just kind of realized as we've been talking, is that there is not one thing in my business right now where I'm like, fuck, I wish I didn't have to do that. Other than graphic design. That's a little bit annoying, but I've got a really amazing graphic designer by the name of Ellie who takes that over for me now, so I don't even need to think about it. So I think that's really amazing, and I think that too often we compromise on what it is that we want because we feel like we should be doing this or we should be doing that, or everybody tells us that we're great at doing this, and then therefore like we end up going down this freaking track doing things that aren't necessarily, maybe they're like 80% aligned or 70% aligned, or maybe it lights you up by, you know, on a scale of lit upness, you know, on 0 to 10, you're a 7 on the lit upness scale. But, you know, what if you could be a 10 out of 10 every fucking day on the lit upness scale? You know, how great would that be? I think that'd be pretty fucking amazing. So, anywho, that is that. So thank you for allowing me to process that right here, because that was really unexpected and a little bit awkward. That's the kind of stuff, right, that when you are, I'm pretty self-aware. I guess like the more aware we become, the more we kind of just go, wow, these are the things that we need to work through. These are the things that we need to let go. This is the stuff that I thought that I should do. And, you know, what if we could just let that go? So that's that. The Queen Code is all about that. That's just how it is. And really, like I was saying before I got interrupted by my tears and realization, that it's really about you consciously creating everything that you want without compromising. So if you want to find out more about that, let me know. But otherwise, take care. Have a really amazing Saturday. Be really clear on what it is that you want to create, how it is that you want to create it in your life, in your money, in your relationships, in your world, in your business. Obviously, you know, we're business people. We need to focus on that. But don't be hung up on the way that it's going to manifest. Don't be hung up on the way that it's going to come on through. And most of all, have a fuck ton of fun along the way, doing the work that you love, the stuff that is you. That's a 10 out of 10 on the lit upness scale. All right? Take care, everyone. Happy Saturday. I will talk with you all later.